Hey everybody, welcome back to Dad Does Videos. Today we're coming at you from my living room where we are going to install this new plug-in wall sconce over here from the old Home Depot. It is an oil rubbed wall sconce that is a plug-in version. So if you're sitting at home and thinking, geez, I'd really like to have kind of a lamp or something like that that hangs on my wall or some kind of sconce, but I don't want to pay for the electrician to come in and wire something, this is your solution. I like it because it's a little industrial. It's not on the traditional side like your typical lampshade and the typical bendy arm that swings out from the wall. So that's why we went with this. It's like 60 bucks, 65 bucks at Home Depot. So we are going to guide you through putting it together. The nice part about this, it actually comes with a light bulb, as you could see here. So we'll see what that looks like once we get it installed. Of course, you can change your light bulb to whatever you'd see as you see fit. Another thing that's a little bit of a plus, this is just a typical pendant glass light shade. So if you get this up and a couple years later you don't like the looks of it, guess what? You can just go get a replacement pendant shade and put something else in. So we'll guide you through step by step. These are all the things that it comes with. You could see the light bulb, you could see the pendant shade, we've got the instructions, we've got the mounting bracket over here along with this pulley system that the actual lamp is attached to. And we also have a couple screws and a couple plastic anchors that we'll use to mount this thing up. Okay, so let's get started. So first step you want to take care of here is unscrewing the socket ring, and that's what this piece is right here from the actual socket. And you just twist off to the left or counterclockwise, right? Just like that. Okay, and step two, we want to remove this mounting plate from the setup that it comes with right now. So you'll see a little screw, right here, and you just twist that out. If you need a screwdriver, go ahead and do that, but you just want to switch, or unscrew like anything else to the left. You can see, pops out right there, and then this just comes out. And this is what we'll use to actually mount this piece on the wall. Okay, the next step is to pick out a place on your wall where you want to hang your sconce or the bracket itself. So what I did was measured right in the middle of my wall and put a little dot right there and used a leveler to make a straight line across, and then put 2 dots where I'm gonna have to put the drywall anchors. And the way I did that was just line this up with, see, there we go. You can see my dots in there. What I did was just kind of place it on top, make sure everything's level, put this right in the middle where that dot was in the middle, and just put the dots in there where I wanted them to go. Okay, so here's a better view of the wall where I want to put this, and you can see my line way up here right now. So I thought I'd just give a couple tips before I actually drill some pilot holes for this. One thing is just to double check. This is a stud finder. There are lots of different kinds that you can buy. I like this one because it just lights up on these little lights when you have a stud. So this is important because, first of all, you don't want to drill into a pipe or anything else like that. So this will find those too. You might need a couple different stud finders. This one just finds things in your walls. There are other stud finders that you can purchase that'll find electricity, that'll find metal. So unless you know your house really well, you might want to pick up one of those just to make sure you're not, drilling into a pipe or into electricity or anything else like that. We've lived here for 8 years, so I know, generally speaking, what's in these walls. But just for demonstration purposes, I thought I'd show you what you want to do just to make sure. And if you have something like this, you just want to run it. Let's see if I can get it along your wall. So you can see up here, that means there's a stud right here, which makes perfect sense because it's a corner. But if you run it along, see how it goes, there's no lights. And then there's one at the end because, again, we're at a corner. So I'm okay. I'm not going to run into anything. If I did run into a stud, or if a stud did show up with a stud finder, I can just drill my screws that came with the lamp straight into the stud. But since I am not drilling straight into a stud, I'm going to have to drill pilot holes for my drywall anchors, and that's what these things are that came with your lamp. So I'm going to get my drill and get a drill bit and kind of match up the size. You always want to go a little bit lower than the width of these to make your pilot holes, and you can always expand, but you can't make the hole skinnier. Okay, so I sized these up and it looks like it's a 5/32 drill bit, so I've got that cocked up and ready. I'm going to try to get out of the way as I actually drill my pilot hole so you can kind of see what I'm doing. But this is it. There's nothing to it. Just drill your holes right where you mark them with your pencil. So here's a close-up shot of what those look like after I've got the holes drilled in. And now we're going to get our plastic anchors and lightly tap them in. Okay, so grab a plastic anchor, and remember these came with your sconce, and grab a hammer. Again, lightly go up to your holes that you made. And gently tap in. And you want to get these nearly flush with your drywall. But just be careful. So I will do the other one, but let's see if I can get you a shot at what this looks like. Okay, so now we're going to get our screws that came with the sconce and start to screw them in the holes that we just made. And just leave a little bit of buffer room once you get these going in, because we're going to get our mounting plate and slide that right on top and then tighten these up. Okay, and as you can see, we have our 2 screws up. Now what we're going to do is grab our mounting plate and put this right over top of the screws, and you're going to put the screws right in these two slots, and make sure this is facing upwards. And that's why these bigger holes are down here for the screws, because you can just slide those right in and then just tighten these. Okay, so this is what your mounting bracket should look like right now, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay, so now we are ready to actually mount the sconce onto the wall. This is right side up, because you're going to put the screw that came out of the top right back in here. This is basically going to fit over your mounting bracket like that. One thing to keep in mind when you're doing this, the first thing that you're going to want to do in the bottom of this, let me see if I can, this little tab down here, there's a little slot down there, that is where this slides in, the bottom of this. So you'll want to first slide this up, making sure this tab goes into the slot down here, and then put the screw on top. Okay, so now we have it all set up and ready to go. This is what your sconce should look like. The next step is for us to put the glass shade on, and remember that ring that you took off in the first step? Go grab that along with the glass shade, because that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so we have the ring and we have our shade. Now, if you haven't noticed already, or if you just did, this, if you look at it really at a cursory glance, it looks like this is broken. You see that little dent in there. That's actually supposed to be there because that's the way that this piece catches this part right here. Okay, so to actually put all these together, you get this part and face it up like this, put it underneath your glass lampshade, and remember this is going to catch the threads from this part right here. So if we kind of put that through like so, and if you can kind of hang those together like that, you see what I'm doing? And then use this to just twist up. Takes a little dexterity. But this is the part when I was explaining earlier, if you get sick of this shade in a year or two or whatever, and you want to look at something else, all you have to do is go get a pendant shade, unscrew this part, and then just put the new shade in, just like we just did, and you'll be good. So be careful when you're tightening. This is glass. You don't want to tighten too much, but you want to make sure it's nice and tight. And if you haven't noticed already, there's this little knob right up here coming out of the sconce itself. If you tighten this, that secures the length of thread or your cord, right? So once you tighten it really tight, this can't move, this can't move. But when you loosen it to the left, that allows you to move the lampshade up and down however you want. And of course you can do that whenever you'd like, right? Maybe some days you want a little lower, some days you want it higher. You can play with the height of it to however you want. I think I'm actually gonna raise mine right now. So as you can see, I'm just pulling down. That looks about right. And just tighten this up for right now. And we're good. So I'm gonna go get the light bulb, and that's the last piece that we're gonna put in. Okay, so as you can see, we have our light bulb in. I'm just gonna turn it on and see what happens. And the switch is near the bottom, which is kind of odd, but there we go. Looks pretty good. Take it out a little bit so you can see kind of the broader view. Not too bad at all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like.